Welcome to the solutions video for CK12 Algebra's Finding Total Distance Using Multiple Step Word Problems. Again, in my class, always make sure that you see this currently assigned to you banner. We're aiming for mastery more than the 10 questions. So John runs 400 meters in 2 minutes. He cycles 3 times as fast as he can run. How far can he cycle in 2 minutes? Well, it's the same amount of time. It's 3 times faster. So 3 times as many meters. Aaron and Lewis are at the track. Aaron walks 60 meters per minute, while Lewis runs 180 meters per minute. When Lewis runs 900 meters, how far does Aaron walk? Well, 900 divided by 180 is 5. So they've been running for 5, or going for 5 minutes. So Aaron will walk 300 meters in those 5 minutes. Colleen cycles from home to downtown. She planned to cycle at 16 kilometers an hour, but she started out 30 minutes late. In order to arrive on time, she has to cycle 45 kilometers per hour faster than she planned. Or 4 kilometers per hour faster, that makes 20 kilometers an hour. So, how far from downtown is her home? Well, it's a difference of 4 kilometers per hour to make up 30 minutes. So that's a 2 kilometer difference. Scratch that. It's a 2 kilometer per hour difference. Okay. So she originally wanted, so 16 is our rate. And this is our distance. So time is the distance over the velocity. Now, unfortunately, she started off half an hour late. So we want to find our distance. So the time that she intended was the distance over 16 kilometers an hour. The time that she actually had, right, the time minus that half hour that she was late, is how much she has to cover in distance over 20 hours. She has to go an extra 4 kilometers an hour faster. So d over 16 minus 0.5, just by substitution, is d over 20. So bringing the d over 20 to one side and the 0.5 to the other, that means d over 16 minus d over 20 is 0.5, or 1/2. We could multiply everything by 20, and that should wipe out a lot of our denominators. So here we have 5d, and we still have a 4 in that denominator. Minus d is 10. Now we multiply everything by 4. So 20d minus 4d is 40. So that's 16d is 40. Our distance is 40 over 16, which is 10 over 4, which is 5 over 2. So that's saying it's 2.5 kilometers, but that, okay, I made a mistake somewhere, because there's no way it's only a 2.5 kilometer difference if she's going 16 or 20 kilometers per hour. That's just not going to happen. Because what she covered was or she had to make up for the 8 kilometers that she did not cover in those 30 minutes. So an extra 4 kilometers per hour would cover 8 kilometers in 2 hours. So this 2.5 I got is the time that she will actually spend cycling. So at 20 kilometers an hour, that's 50. So she's 50 kilometers away at 16 kilometers per hour. If we just go 50 over 16, that's 3.125. And that's 50 over 20 plus 0.5. Okay, that's just the 3, so it's not quite the same. Yeah, let's use that approach. Okay, let's trash it. So we have x over 16 is x over 20 plus 1 over 2. So the time taken at 16 kilometers an hour is the time taken at 20 kilometers an hour plus a half an hour. Again, multiply everything. We'll multiply everything by 80. It gives us 5x is 4x plus 40. Yeah, so x is 40. So 40 kilometers away. So 40 kilometers at 2.5, or at 16 kilometers an hour is 2.5 hours. 40 kilometers at 20 kilometers an hour is 2 hours plus the half hour late. So 40 is the right answer. Almond lives south of the school and Coconut lives north of the school. They live 1,410 meters from each other. If Almond walks to school 3 minutes earlier than Coconut, they arrive at the same time. Almond walks 70 meters per minute and Coconut walks 80 meters per minute. So how far is it from Almond's home to school? So we know there's Coconut. Sorry, let's see. Yeah, Coconut is north. Almond is south. And the school is in the middle. So we're asked, how far is it from Almond's home to school? That's what we're trying to solve for. So this distance is the total distance minus the distance from Almond. So if Almond walks to school 3 minutes earlier than Coconut, they arrive at the same time. So Almond walks 70 meters per minute. So the time it takes Almond is the distance divided by 70 meters per minute plus those extra 3 minutes. And that is equal to the time it takes Coconut walking at 80 meters per minute. So multiply everything by a common denominator of 560. That will give us 7x here. 3 times 560 is 1680, if I've done my mental math right. And then, oh, I have 7x here. That should be 8x. We're subtracting a 7x here. And then we have a 7 times 1410. So that is 9870. So we bring the 1680 here by subtracting. We get a 15x is 0. That's a 9. And this had to be regrouped to a 7. So that's a 2. This does not need regrouping. So that's 8. So x is 80 to 90 over 15. Which is not going to be a whole number answer. We can divide top and bottom by 5. That's 1. 5 goes into 42 8 times. 2 remainder. 5 goes into 29. 5 times, and then 5 goes into 48 times, and that's over 3. It's almost 620 meters. But this strikes me as the kind of problem where they'd have an exact answer. This is the problem with trying to do these solutions well after my usual bedtime. I might be messing something up and not realizing it. Okay, checking the math. That was it. I forgot I had to regroup here. So this is an 8190. Not an 8290. So that will make the difference. So 5 goes into 8190. 1,638 times. This is a multiple of 3. So that's 546 meters. So we go 546 divided by 70 plus 3. That gets us 10.8. And 1410 minus 546. Divide that by 80, that gives us the same 10.8. So that's a match. And that's what we've got here. So 546 should work. 546 divided by 70 meters per minute plus 3 minutes is 10.8. And then 1410 minus 546, divide that by 80, that's 10.8. So let's take a look at the solution. Okay, so they're saying 770. That means Almond makes the trip in 14 minutes. But Coconut makes the trip in 8. So they've got the 3 minutes messed up. Okay, so this is something that we can give them that feedback and check it. So George and Ed walk towards each other, starting at the same time. George walks 48 meters per minute, and Ed walks 54 meters per minute. They meet 30 meters from the midpoint of their starting points. How far apart are they at the start? So this 6 meter per minute difference adds up to 30 meters. So if we treat this as being one of them stationary, the other one walking 6 meters per minute, they meet after 30 minutes. Okay, so they've got that 30 meter difference. Okay, so yeah, that 30 meter difference with the relative difference of 6 meters per minute represents 5 minutes. So if they started and just walked for 5 minutes, George walked 48 times 5, which is 240 meters. Ed walked 54 times 5, which is 270 meters. And so they must be 510. No, that wouldn't be 510 because that midpoint would be at 255. It should be double that. So if George walked 10 minutes, he's gone 480. If Ed walked for 10 minutes, that's 540. So Ed walks 60 meters farther than George. That's 30 meters to the midpoint plus an additional 30 meters past it. Bob leaves the mall and drives towards the library, where Carla leaves the library and drives towards the mall. If they start driving at the same time and the cars pass each other after 30 minutes, how far from the mall, or how far is the mall from the library? So in 30 minutes, Bob has driven 24,000 meters, or 24 kilometers, and Carla has driven 21 kilometers. So 21 plus 24 is 45 kilometers. There we go. Now we have our mastery. So we will turn it in. And that marks the complete solutions for this, since we are looking for the mastery level and not just the 10 correct.